You're killing me, Smalls.
We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS shipping packages. I'm smoking weed out them packages. If I ain't got a gun, I'm stabbing it. I got some leftover lean in the cabinet. I can hit your little hoe when she happy. Poke on that pussy shit like it's a top in it. We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS doing the packaging. I'm smoking good ass weed out them packages. I can't lie 'cause I ain't capping it.
Welcome back to the DNA podcast. It's your boy D.
And it's your boy Antonio. Let's get to it.
This week is part 2 to our conspiracies. We love the first one so much. It's an underrated gem of our collections. Yeah. And we brought it back. If one time's a fluke, 2 times you know it's nice.
Yeah, we have a pattern.
You want to start off with yours? Antonio has way more than me. So.
Well, I found myself onto conspiracy TikTok, so it is what it is, right? So my first conspiracy, we'll start off pretty light. Avril Lavigne, if you know who she is, she was kind of like a rock star, punk rock, pop star in like the early 2000s.
The way you described her, she's the original Robin Sparkles.
Think Willow Smith, like recently.
Bro, you watch How I Met Your Mother. I never knew of Avril Lavigne, but the Robin Sparkles thing is literally a fucking parody of what you're about to tell about her.
Accurate. So I mean, if you've been on TikTok, you've probably seen this conspiracy, and I kind of believed it. At first, I was like, this isn't true. But then the more I looked into it, I was like, this is kind of suspicious. But so the moral story is, Avril Lavigne comes out with her first studio album. It's a success. Her grandfather ends up dying. Her and her grandfather were really tight, really close, and it tore her apart. So the theory is that she killed herself. But Avril Lavigne had a friend / body double that would take her place for certain events or go out in public to dodge the paparazzi for her. And the theory is that her body double took her place. And the evidence that they showed was that so between the first album and the second album, her, like, the way that she dressed changed, the kind of music that she was making changed. So, like, a lot of the things about her just kind of changed overnight. And that's not usually something that happens, especially as an artist. Like, you expect artists to change, like, over time, of course, but not, like, between 2 albums. Yeah. Not such a drastic change. And then, and so the cover art for her first album is, like, a letter that she wrote. And it's, like, in her handwriting. If you compare that to her handwriting after the second album, it is, like, totally different. Her handwriting doesn't look the same. And that's something that usually never changes for a person. Even if your handwriting gets more sloppy, it usually never changes. How you write letters are still the same. So, like, that's kind of the evidence for that she offed herself and they covered it up.
My conspiracy theorist ass, when I heard it, it sounded good. It still does sound good. I don't believe it. I believe that the death of her grandfather just hit her so hard that it just she could have been going mentally sick. Just so it just so happened that her mentally sick is still a record-selling artist.
Well, I mean, her second album didn't do exist first, but
so, like, for me, I'll get to the handwriting part, but, like, everything else kind of checks out. I mean, her grandfather died, so she started dressing kind of different. It could be one of 2 things. That could have been, one, the real her, but the death of her grandfather made her feel more justified in being herself, or B, the shit just fucked her up so bad that she's not herself. That
could easily be the issue, but
music changing. All my favorite artists sound different from album to album. I know that sounds weird, but, like, Kanye West, from Graduation, 808's Heartbreak. That shit's a drastic change from what he does. Then from 808's to Ye. Well, I guess My Beautiful Dark Twisted, but then go to Ye. Like, the shit's different.
But I think from 808's and Heartbreaks to Beautiful Dark Twisted to Ye, I think that's a logical progression into his Fall of Madness. So
I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Michael Jackson albums are really different if you think about it from album to album. I think it's just...
I think so, but his sound was the same.
I get what you're saying. It's a Michael Jackson song, but after Bad, like the Bad album, that shit was different. It was just a little bit, but artist experiment. So I chalked that up to her experiment. This is what I think happened. Boom. Her grandfather died. Now she doesn't feel confined to the one way that she was. Maybe she was a punk rocker. Maybe that's who she was. Mm-hmm. But there was industry plants back then. Maybe that wasn't who she was. Her grandfather died, and then she just became who she really wanted to be. She's not confined.
I mean, it also could have been that like the punk rocker was who she really was, and then when her grandfather died, that pushed her over the edge and let the industry control who they wanted her to be.
That too.
And they made her more cupcakey.
Yeah. And then some people just change sometimes. Like,
yeah.
Like I like Lady Gaga now. People like Lady Gaga. People don't remember that damn meat suit and that shit that she used to wear back then. Like,
I liked it.
Man, I hated that shit. But
I like it. It was so fucking weird. Like, and she was so comfortable being a fucking weirdo. I was like, all right, not me.
Sometimes you just change. You just mature. You just
I guess.
So I give that handwriting thing. Now that's
what put me over the edge. Like everything else is like, okay, maybe it could be something else, but the handwriting thing, I was like, this is really suspicious.
I've seen handwriting changed, and like even before what I told you off camera that mines have changed since college because it's gotten sloppy. But my handwriting before college, in between 10th and 11th grade, it changed. But I willfully took the change because I saw a nigga write so much better than me, but he wrote in a way, and I just copied the bitch.
But you actively changed it. So I mean, I guess you can actively change your handwriting, but like that's something like
it is kind of weird.
It takes decades to change how you write.
Yeah. And so that is a hold to me. It's a I can't explain that one. Everything else I can explain because there's a catalyst. Her grandfather died. Mm-hmm. There's a catalyst, then there's change and events. That's everybody's life. Damn, the handwriting thing is
tough.
So do you believe it happened?
I don't. So like my conspiracy theory brain's like, yeah, they did that shit. But like my rational mind's like, probably not.
For me, if it was like a serious conspiracy, man, why didn't nobody get that bitch swabbed or get her fingerprint? Like what we got going on here? Like let's end the debate once and for all.
I think this conspiracy came out like as of like recently. It hasn't been a long term thing. It was just like people noticed it. At least I know it got big around now. People actually starting believing it.
It doesn't help that so many other things, like so many people want so badly for celebrities to be different. Like, oh, there was 2 Michael Jacksons. Bro, I get it. The Thriller Michael Jackson, the kid Michael Jackson, is not the same Michael Jackson from the 90s and the 2. Like, that's not how we want him to be. Mm-hmm. But it's logical what happened to him.
Yeah, no,
that's not what we want.
I think it was one Michael Jackson.
Yeah. The same thing what I saw with Eminem. Have you noticed Eminem doesn't look the same when he was younger? No shit. He's a recovering addict, and he was on hard drugs. Like, he was on pills, alcohol heavy. Like, if you've seen somebody recover, they look kind of wore out because they're kind of wore out. Like, and he's older. Like, he's older.
And then on top of that, he got in shape.
He got fat.
He got fat, and then he was like in shape, fat, and in shape again. So like now it kind of makes sense. Like your face changes, your skin doesn't always bounce back the same.
So stuff like that, just like I think we want so badly for celebrities to be part of this secret society, which I believe there is. That's one of my things down the road. But like we want so badly for them to be so outlandishly weird that like
You start to reach for anything that could be possibly a thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I mean, don't get me wrong, like this Avril Lavigne, the only thing you got on me is the handwriting, but that's still justifiable. Like it's still that's not like one day she had two right hands.
And like I only chose this one because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Not so much that I believed it like wholeheartedly, but like if it came out and it was true, I'd be like, well.
It would make sense. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on some celebrity thing. This wasn't one of mine. I'm gonna tell you something that really like I think Gucci Mane was brainwashed. And it's not to be ha funny.
Like when he was in the pen?
Yeah. Because, like, some people want to say clone, but I'm going to tell you why I think brainwash. But I grew up listening to Gucci. My nickname, D Guwap, is literally a play off of Gucci's Big Guwap. Like, I liked Gucci. I liked the outlandish stuff. I liked that nigga was the most ignorant person on the planet at one point in time. And I'm not going to hold you. I still don't know how he got out of jail. I don't know what he was in jail for. But around that time, he pushed a woman out of a speeding vehicle. He was driving on the wrong side of the road at high speeds, at illegal speeds, while under the influence. He got caught with firearms. He did so much shit in such a time, I thought he was done. I don't know how the nigga got out so quickly. So him getting out quickly is a red flag for me. I'm not gonna get into like, oh, his face looked different, this and that. He went in fat, he got into shape.
Yeah.
Tattoos wear down after a while. And his face isn't the same when he went in. But it's just off. Like everything about him. Of course he doesn't want to go back. Shit. If you're smart, you don't want to go back to jail. But it seems like, and we've seen brainwash videos like he's smiling. He's afraid not to smile. Pretty much get out. Hey, he's a nigga that's just possessed and just a shell. But it cracked. This is why I think brainwash. It cracked versus Jeezy when he was doing the versus battle. And then he played the song to Jeezy. This song. When he was like, go dig your partners up. I bet they ain't saying shit. It cracked. The old Gucci shined through. But then he went back to normal. So that's easily justified. You could easily just say he just changed. But, you still got the hood nigga in you. But it's such a drastic change. Oh, in doubt, if they said they brainwashed him, I would 100% believe.
All right, so you poked holes in mine, so I gotta poke holes in yours. So I just think maybe the man just went into jail and found enlightenment. He's like, man, this shit is dumb.
100% like.
And then also he probably was on some shit, and then jail forces you to be clean to a certain extent because you can still get shit in jail, but he probably got clean. He started thinking smarter with his money.
Yeah.
He realized, hey, I got to figure some shit out. I can kind of see how. I'm just saying, like, so if I went in when I was doing all my wild shit when I was 13, and I went to jail, and I came out, and I had the same enlightenment that I had when I was in high school, then I'd be like, oh well, maybe I shouldn't do that.
I don't doubt that philosophy, but the nigga went in when he was like 28. Well,
I mean, but he also was in the streets like that.
Yeah.
And you know how hard it is to get out of that mindset when you live in that kind of life.
Which is 100% true. And that's why I was like, I don't believe he's a clone. Like, all the features are still there. He's just a fat nigga that got into shape. Like, I don't believe it's a clone, but it's just, I don't know. It makes me it makes me uncomfortable looking at it. And people have asked since he came out, I have not listened to a Gucci song, haven't listened to a tape. He did one with the Migos that niggas liked, hated that shit. Like, for me, it's like he's pretending to be himself. That's the odd. It seems like he's a rapper pretending to be Gucci, but you're Gucci. Like, I'm not saying that he's supposed to rap the same, but it sounds like he's
really been a Gucci fan. I know that's gonna have people in the comments.
It's funny how many people go, it's like, you like Gucci? Gucci's one of your favorite rappers. And brother, that nigga's a hood. He's a hood star. Like, it's a hood classic.
I'm not a fan of Gucci like that. I've never liked him. Now, I do like Gucci on a feature.
I like him for the same reason I like the Chicago niggas and the Florida niggas. That nigga was really about it. Like,
That's fair.
The lyrics the stupid lyrics
become
a little bit better when you realize, like,
oh, he actually did this shit.
the turning point when I liked Gucci's when he made that Jeezy diss, and like he made the diss after everybody knew he killed the dude. I was like, go dig your partner up. I bet he ain't saying shit. Jeezy lost all respect. You better go. He sent people to go rob him. You better go send them to go kill that nigga. It's no more talking that we can do. He killed. And it's not like he's one of these fake niggas. Like he killed your man's. And he did this, bro. He made that song like in 05. I don't give a damn. You can take your Waynes, your T.I., your 50s. Well, nobody realer than that man in that rap game. And from 05 to whenever Chief Keef blew up, which is ironic because that's when he went to jail. Bro, I've never seen niggas more. I've just never seen. Gucci was a dumb nigga. That's what I've never seen a dumb nigga who just did not care. And that was my guy. That was my guy. And I'm glad that he's in a better place. But
at the same time, okay.
When you're in the streets for so long and go to jail, the logical progression for me is a little boozy. And I just not even mean like just they've shared the same life. That's the logical. He came out and he's goddamn Jay-Z. Jay-Z didn't go to jail for extended periods of time. So it makes sense why you had more time to change.
Yeah, I guess.
You went in little boozy and left Jay-Z. And he's all the real holes in the theory is Gucci's a part of the Atlanta rap scene more than ever, and he's just not rapping. Like he got his 1017, Pooh Shiesty signed to it, a bunch of other big names that like are popping now. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, he signed to nigga Gucci on there. He's making the money without having to be the rapper, and like. Only a real Atlanta hood nigga could really, like, everybody knows who Pooh Shiesty is, whether you like him, which I don't. But, like, niggas love him, and it's like, damn, Gucci Mane, like the Dr. Dre of Atlanta out there, like that, he's plugged. So, a fake Gucci wouldn't be able to, I guess, see talent, wouldn't be able to know the talent.
Yeah.
So, that's the only hole, but it's, if they would have said they tortured him and tried to brainwash him, I would believe it. More than Avril Lavigne killed herself and has been a body double this whole time. I'm okay with believing anything, but for mines, I lost it because it was a good one. I had one to build to, but it's COVID as a whole. I guess where I'm gonna stand on it is. We know that this is man-made. That's not a conspiracy. When I was looking up, it was like, oh, the conspiracy was made in a lab. No. At this point, we know that. But my conspiracy thing is it's being used to weaponize for more, to lead to martial law. And I'm not saying immediately to martial law like next year, but 30 years from now. And that this is a good catalyst to move us more in the direction. It's becoming damning to me when I see stuff. People are willfully giving up their rights just for the thought of safety. It's damning. I
mean, but don't you think anybody? We all signed to give up certain rights. Like technically, like if there was no rules at all, right? You would have the right to take my life, right? But we signed over that right.
I guess for me, it's just the way people are doing it. So, like, no matter what the outcome is, oh yeah, do this, do that. I have no problem of making mask mandates. I have no problem doing mandates on plane to fly. Have no problem with mandates of if you can go out to eat. I have no problem with this, with that. And it's just like, I get that you're scared, but you do know this sets a bad precedent. Or like, I have no problem with the government interfering, doing X, Y, and Z. You know this sets a bad precedent. This is why I was like, not immediately. Mm-hmm. Not like, oh, next year. But like, you know this sets a bad chain of events.
Mm. I guess it can set up the alley.
Yeah.
The alley.
Yeah. Like, I would say this is a cat. Like, if martial law get imposed in 20 years, my ass confined to my house, we'll be thinking, yep, it was that damn COVID. I told y'all that shit. And so much shit would have happened. We went to World War III, all this.
I think if things are signed into law, right, like changes are made to the Constitution, this and that, then that would be that would be like, oh, this is evidence. Not saying it's not true, not saying that it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
I just think as we stand right now, it's not that big of a deal. If that makes sense. Because, like, there's nothing's changed on the federal law side's scale. For the most part.
Mm-hmm. So,
like, I don't know. The way that our government is structured is still fundamentally the same. So if we were going to have martial law in 30 years, it was going to happen 30 years from today anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Basically, for my conspiracy theory of the COVID to work, it's more Barack Obama had this saying. I don't know how most people don't know this saying. If we did not create the what is it? We didn't create. Can't let a crisis go by. It was something like that. Like, even though we didn't cause the crisis, it's still good to use it though. We can use it to our thing. It was something like that. I'm gonna edit this bitch in when I actually come up with it. But I'm going with and don't let a crisis go by and you don't use it. And it was just like, that's so damning, because that's what they do. Like even though we didn't want this to happen, shit, it sure plays into our hands.
But
and
we both know that you're the how do I say this? You're the supervillain out of the two of us.
I sure as hell did.
Then you should like this idea.
Oh no, I do. Like that's why I was like,
that's what you should say.
It's a conspiracy theory, I guess, to others. Makes sense to me. If I'm in control, I'm not gonna let shit go by.
Oh, yeah,
but it's this COVID shit going by. Oh, y'all about to lose y'all's rights. So watch me work. Watch me work. And
I don't know. I think yes, this could be used for the downfall of democracy as a whole, of course, but I don't think one group of people have a control over the country like that actually put this plan in motion, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's because, like, and I only say that because, yes. So basically, how this our country works is like they have the Democrats, Republicans, and you have corporations, right? Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much who runs said country. And the corporations are giving money to both sides. So, like, no one party has control enough to really dictate what's happening. The only party that does kinda is corporations, and they're trying to get control in different ways. I don't think a corporation would impose martial law, because that'd be bad for business.
True, but great for the government though.
I don't think so.
And it's also the weird thing of so these two things don't represent each other, but it represents mankind going to shit. How the government is starting to and this is literally a Chinese policy. They're trying to sign a bill of like your social score, and so it's like they can use your social media and all of your medical history, this and that, and they give you a social score, kind of like your credit score, and that affects pretty much things of how your credit do. They have that, I think, in China or in Japan.
It's in China.
And like, there's actually a bill up. It has not been signed for, hasn't been voted on. But like, this is actually going through. This is actually in their thought process.
Who put this in? You know, I mean, I'm gonna have to look this up.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not. You might have just found it somewhere on the internet and you thought it was true. Not talking shit. But I have not heard of this.
Bro,
but I'm all for looking for my own research and figuring that up. Because that would be very interesting and be very damning, especially to one side. Because if it's a Republican that put this up to vote or introduced this bill, that looks very bad on you for being anti-communist.
Bro, it's so it's just like everything's leading to it. And for me, I guess it's the start of Trump with fake news. And the COVID thing is damning to me just for the fact of how much fake news on COVID it is, but it's being spread by every major news source. And it's like, bro, this is the fault of civilization. I'm not saying that we should have always trusted the news, because I sure as hell didn't. But what can you do if all major news sources are filing bullshit? I'm not saying that they're all scientists, you all should know, but you're out here peddling contradictory information as fact. And now us as a population have gotten to the point where it's the vax pretty much against the anti-vax. And like, what the hell is this? Like, what the hell type of world is this? What?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same thing that has always been. It's just playing two sides against each other, right? So like, it just found another way to divide us on another line. Because you're always stronger as a united front, right? Yeah. So if we have something that we agree on, like obviously 70% of the country believes that we should legalize weed, right?
Yeah.
Literally 70%. I think at one point it got up to 80.
I thought it was 80, but 70 still
yeah,
high as
I think the last election was 70, right?
Yeah.
So like 70% of the country says legalize it and just tax it, right? But what they do is that they separate us on social issues to make it easier for us not to push for other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think this is just a way to separate us, keep us from talking about the stuff that actually matters.
I believe you, but the way that you're putting it is too abstract.
I don't think it's abstract at all.
No, not that, but like you're looking at it as, oh, their singular goals to break you up. Nah, niggas is too smart for that just to be their end goal. That's why I'm the conspiracy going.
Well, they can keep it the same. They can keep the system the same. The rich keep getting richer. Corporations don't have any repercussions for anything. The politicians can stay in office for as long as they want because there's no term limits, and that's what we really need as a country.
And we need goddamn age limit because them niggas too goddamn old.
A term limit would take if you get voted in at 60, right? But you only have 2 terms, and your terms are I think maybe you have like four terms in the House of Representatives because it's only 2-year terms.
Yeah.
But like you only have 4 terms or whatever, and you have to get out and go run for something else. That would solve your issue because then you could, even if you got in at 60, by the time you're 68 and you're done. That's it.
That's true, and like I do like your plan, but my main issue is the age problem. Just like I don't care how long you're in there, the problem is the disconnect between you and the majority of people you're representing. Age.
Well, I mean, if the majority of people voted you in,
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, just if you go in pure democracy.
If we're picking from a 58-year-old nigga and a 62-year-old nigga, yeah, sure, thank God we
Well, I mean, that's what y'all chose.
But
because I'm pretty sure there was a young person who ran too. Y'all chose the old person. So really, that speaks on society.
I don't remember an old person running in Virginia. Why the hell do I care about Virginia? I live in Charlotte.
I'm just saying, like, there's been plenty, and I think, especially back before our generation, like the young millennials and Z's.
Don't give them. Oh, that's our generation.
Yeah.
Don't give them old ass niggas no good title.
Yeah, because millennials is a pretty big gap.
Yeah,
it's like from like 1970 something to, I think it's like 1980 something to 98 something like that. So like that's a big gap. So like so the younger millennials and Gen Zs are a lot more politically active than any other young group at that time. So who was mainly voting for old people? Old people.
Yeah, it was.
And then old people, and now old people live for much longer. So now they have the ability to vote for much longer. Not saying they shouldn't have the ability to vote, but you know what I'm saying? And if they're more politically active and their populations is still the same, then it's really hard for our voters in our generation to make a big dent.
And so as times change, The rules need to change too. It sounds bad that you could use that to manipulate people, but rules need to change. If you put a gap on age cap, you can't be over 55. It nips it in the bud. It gives you 2 fresh people to go with. So it give me 2 40s. It give me 2 40s and 150.
Yeah, but that could be just as dangerous.
I mean, they still old, but like, bro, it's.
I mean, because you got to think like, yes, is most of Congress old white people, for sure. But you know who else? Who always like all the old people who are like in their 40s, 30s, late 50s, and they still have a committee. And usually, you have to be in there so long that you get a committee seat, and then you decide what we talk about, we vote on, what gets past the committee.
Yeah, it's a glorified boys club with some women in it.
It's an old folks home. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with being old. Being old does give you wisdom, because you live through a lot of shit.
I get tired of hearing that shit. As your wisdom come, old also gives you dementia. That wisdom be out the window too.
But let me finish. But wisdom also comes with stereotypes and prejudices, and not so much like based off race, but like you have a set way of thinking, and your way of thinking becomes less and less elastic as you get older, right? You get set in stone.
I'm laughing because I watched this TV show, and it was like this dude's mom kept confusing these black people. He was like, "Oh yeah, you think your mom's going crazy? Nah, that's just a product of her time."
But like, straight up, it's like, even if you became, as an older person, you become enlightened, and if somebody puts you on the game, right? Like, hey, you got to stop thinking like that. You got to start thinking like this. This is obviously the right way to think. And like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. But that's always going to be in the back of your brain, like, I don't like them niggers. Like, it's always going to be back there.
Man, back in my day, and seeing them niggas in the hoods mean they robbing you. All right, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna lock this door.
It's like, bro, like, this is cold outside. Like, come on, man.
You're wearing a hood too.
You got on boots and a coat. Like, come on, dude.
So, like, well, we're there. We spun off my point of COVID being used as a tool, but
I think we agree, but I think we agree on for different reasons.
I'm going more down the line, but you do agree, yeah. So, to TBD, if what I'd say is happening, hopefully my words is a spark for the future.
But the moral story is that COVID was made in the lab in Wuhan, and then no one's gonna ever fucking say it. But so funny story about that. So Obama basically made it into a thing where America wasn't gonna work on making new viruses.
Didn't they send them to Wuhan?
Yeah. So Obama cut the funding for that, right?
Yeah. Nigga cut a lot of funding for some good shit.
No, so the idea was that we shouldn't make viruses.
Completely.
Which is, we shouldn't make diseases that don't exist.
Yeah. Man-made shit always go wrong.
And then Trump came into office, reopened that shit up, and that money was going over to China, to Wuhan.
Yeah. Why do you think that nigga Trump knew exactly where it was coming from?
Suspicious.
Yeah. And that's that small stuff when I say the government's controlling. I knew that he opened it back up. Most people didn't because of the cascade of the stupid shit that he say. Mm-hmm. You say the stupid shit to mask
to cover up your
shit that you're doing.
Yeah, it's like I was like, bro, I don't know. Number one, we shouldn't be playing with shit we don't understand. Like, also, we should not play with stuff that we know that we do understand. That's bad. Like, hey, viruses kill people. Let's not play with those.
I have a fundamental philosophy. If man can think it, it's already gone too wrong. It's already gone left.
Like, my thing is, like, I completely understand studying a virus that's already a thing. Like, studying smallpox, right? How does it work? What does it do? What kind of effects does it have on the body? You know, that makes sense. But, like, making a new virus, why?
Ask the people. It's just in case that it spawns in nature, even though you spawned it in a test tube. If you ask the folks, but
I mean, let's just study all the things that are around that virus. Let's not make a new one.
How about we put that money and go to studies and see how people are poor in America? how about you go study that?
How about you just fund healthcare? It would be a fucking problem,
I
right?
swear to Jesus.
Maybe if you just paid off some student loan debt.
How about you take all that damn money you funding for these viruses? We could have universal health care to where shit, if the viruses did come out minor, might be able to fucking treat the shit. Like,
it's not really a conspiracy theory, but it's kind of related to what we're talking about. So, I don't know if you know how like medicine research works. So typically medicines are invented at like public funded schools, right? So like your universities, like University of Berkeley, whatever it is, right?
that's where all the real work get done.
That's all the real work is done, right?
Yeah.
So that typically how it works is like they will do all the research, come up with a cure for something, make a new vaccine, whatever, and then a pharmaceutical company will come in, buy the rights to that medicine or vaccine or whatever, and then they get to profit off of the medicine, right? Mm-hmm. But what you don't realize is that your tax money went to go pay for that school to research that, which fair enough, right? And then the corporation needs to come in, take all the product, and then charge you 3 times what they're charging the rest of the world for the same product. So now you're getting doubly taxed for the medicine that you paid for to begin with.
I swear to Jesus.
And people don't realize, like, and the reason why they say they charge us so much is for research and development. When they didn't pay any of the research and development, we paid it. We paid it in our tax money.
I get pissed off about tipping twice. Yeah, I swear.
People don't think about this shit.
It's nothing I really looked into because, like, all men, I'm gonna die at the age of 50 for lack of medical care. So, it's
you realize the fucking choice, right?
So, giving my money to the government for healthcare was never big on my thing. But I'm really pissed now.
Yeah, dude. Like, I was watching something and I was like, he explained it like on the video, and I was like, these motherfuckers.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of knew up until
I kind of figured it's how it worked, but like,
not the tax part, but I knew that the people in colleges, like the people who really make it, I knew they didn't get paid for it. So like I always knew it was a rip anyway, because all you did was you basically just found it. For all intents and purposes, you just found it, but you're charging a discovery fee. But you're not paying the discoverers. That's what. Like it's a discovery fee.
So
bro.
like the school does get paid back, right? So like, the company will pay for the rights to use the key or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they only get they might get like a portion, and it goes to the school for funding. So like now the school gets funding from both sides, which I think is kind of fair. Like if I discover something as a a research lab, then and I sell off the rights to it, I think we should be able to get
something.
Some of the money back. I think that's fair.
A little something.
I have no problem with the schools, really.
Yeah.
The real issue is the U.S. government and the pharmaceutical companies, because the government allows this to happen, and the pharmaceutical companies are just in it for the money.
Before I thought the government was the people that came and strong arm stuff, but I think they do that when things are like super, like if something super important comes up.
Yeah, they could always come in and be like, "Hey,
we got this."
Yeah, we'll take that. But what we saw that with the vaccine, so they didn't like super strong arm it, but like the government basically said, "Yeah, we're buying all of it."
Thanks for y'all's work. It's ours now. So what was the conspiracy then? Because I believe it 100%.
No, just that's how it works.
Huh?
People don't know that's how it works. It's not really a conspiracy, but it's one of those dark truths that people don't think about.
The shit that you need to know.
Yeah.
It's on you for your second conspiracy.
All right, so my second conspiracy, we're gonna go back in time, and I think that the people back in the day, like I'm talking, like ancient Egypt, most of Africa, other places as well, were way more advanced than we give them credit for.
100% believe that. Them niggas build fucking pyramids to the fucking moon with just thought
And hard work. The reason I say this is like the things that they did just don't make sense. Like we can't do them now. Like if we do them now, it's like a lot of hard work, and we have power tools and computers and all this other stuff to solve the issue, and it's like all they had was their fucking brains and slaves, supposedly. That's hard to believe. And like I think the thing that always sticks out to me is like, so granite is like one of the hardest rocks on Earth, right? Mm-hmm. And there's like perfect circles drilled out of it that you can only do with like a diamond tipped core bit, like now. And they did it with copper and sand. Mm-hmm. Cause that's how they say that they did it. They used a copper tube and sand and spun it around to grind it through. Which, I mean, sure, I guess, but how they made the copper tube?
It's a bunch of stuff from back then. Even like if they say it and they try to say it as fact, I don't believe it, because like you're making me suspend belief too far. Not saying that this weren't the way, but they found you're missing a piece. You're missing
There's something missing here.
Yeah.
Like I believe they did it because there's proof.
Yeah.
I can see it, but like when and how is the question.
I also believe it's hard for us to ever really disprove anything from back then or prove anything, because we're using technology that they probably back then could only, hell, they probably couldn't even dream of it. So like there's, when you research and test stuff, there's a bunch of errors that go in. There's a bunch of designed errors, human error, technology error. But for me, the technology error is the biggest error because they didn't have it. Like if the technology is off by like 0.01, that's still huge for stuff like if you're using an iPhone to base off an old iPhone, cool, you got the specs. No, we're dealing with people that had none of this. So for it to be off a little bit is a lot.
And it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like the like we just don't know everything that they had, and stuff was just lost to time. And we see that even in like European culture, like the Renaissance, and then like Roman times into the Dark Ages. Like they had sewers, they had a whole bunch of other shit, and then what happened in the Dark Ages? They started throwing their shit in the streets.
I was about to say this is a conspiracy to go set that at mass, even what you said, and part of me can't believe it. I believe that life is circular and not linear. So I can believe that they bombed themselves back to the Dark Ages multiple times. Just because too much history is proven, like, you've been so smart, and like it's too many different points in history of like you advancing, but then going back. And like we can give reasons, and like even like we could get somebody who, I studied history, so I can tell you exactly what happened. You can't tell me exactly what happened.
You weren't there.
As we know now, to what you were saying, as we know now to stuff getting lost in time, how much black stuff from current era has been whitewashed in history, to where people's like, I can tell you that really didn't happen. A black man didn't do this. Yes, he did. All because the winner. This is my favorite quote for so many reasons. To the spoils go the victor, because the victor can rewrite the history of the loser.
And I think the word history is the perfect example of this, because it's his story. So it's whatever he says it is.
And it makes too much sense for me that yeah, they probably like even if we take like BC was a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff happened, a lot of technological advancements. But it's funny that I'm gonna use religion for something. Somebody asked me, where do you think Christianity came? I guess when Jesus rose. Why would you figure that? Well, it's BC and Christianity is kind of involved by Jesus, but they were deeply religious then, and religion ruled this and that. That's true. It was like they had this deep history of religion, this and that. That's true. Something just happened. Maybe like I can't explain it to where I believe whatever when society was at the height of wherever it was, it reset itself and built back up.
I mean, you also gotta think like we're living through a pandemic now, right? Currently, and if we didn't have, you know what I'm saying, if this was like, you know, the Black Death, right, and like half the population died because we didn't understand shit, we would be nuked into the fucking dark ages.
Yeah, and this is basically resetting.
So like it could have easily been anything. A volcano erupts, a massive flood comes and knocks out something. A meteorite strikes the ocean and it causes a tsunami. That civilization is knocked off the map, and it just is what it is.
And there's nothing.
And nothing you can do about that.
And all we have is these cryptic paintings and stuff, which as y'all will tell that I hate when people are experts on something that you can't 100% guarantee. Why I don't like Fauci. You can't guarantee me anything. Therefore, you are no expert. You are just spitballing with a little bit more knowledge.
I guess, yeah.
You can't tell me exactly what the hieroglyphics mean, because do you have a key of what it means? I get that you can spitball and you can make it make sense to what we believe now. Or like, you know, we could take what our knowledge is and make it make sense to us now, but that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It's still cryptic language. How do I know? Because me and my homeboy came up with our own language with letters, like with the English letters, and bro, they wanted so hard to try to suspend us for some bullshit, but we knew what it said. It wasn't saying nothing of note. They wanted so badly to act like they were the smartest niggas around, and bro, it was nothing. Like, it was just nothing. We just wrote differently just to piss them off. But and it just gets me. So like, we have all this. We know that they had different communication ways, even with like hieroglyphics. When they be like, that's how they communicated. I'm hard pressed to believe that they didn't have some form of actual communication. These hieroglyphics were just people thinking, you know what? There's gonna be a time we not here. Now let's go ahead and I
don't know. I think hieroglyphics is so like I always thought hieroglyphics were weird because like in Mesopotamia they have cuneiform, right? Which is like the first language, like first written language. And it operates and functions like a normal language. Hieroglyphics, because it's like a picture-based language, which I guess all languages are picture-based languages, but like hieroglyphics doesn't work like that. It's more like a storytelling thing, in a weird way. Which, I mean, I guess that's how they could have just operated their you know, their thing, but like they would write hieroglyphics for everything.
And it makes you think, but you had language. Why didn't you just write it? Like it's just weird stuff. Like, why didn't you just?
But I mean, it could easily work like that because we weren't there either.
Yeah, and this is the stuff of like we can't prove it. There's nothing to.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like we're just missing something when it comes to especially ancient Egypt, but other places as well.
Yeah,
it just doesn't add up. Like, and I think like the story of Atlantis, even though the more you look into Atlantis, it's a little bit of hog water, but
I thought Atlantis just happened because of Pangea. Like, I thought that the world just changed and it just ended up underwater.
So the person, I think it was Homer, who wrote the story of Atlantis. He wrote about it in a time that was like 200 to 300 years or 400 years after when it would have happened. So there's really no way he would have known, right?
Yeah.
but he wrote it like he was there.
The
So it's kind of, I was like, oh, this is kind of a
the,
little bit hot water.
the Atlantis thing is hard because
But I do believe that it probably was a civilization that got flooded by something, a volcano, something, and then it disappeared. And it could have been more advanced than the other niggas around him. And then all the other niggas were like, remember that country? What was that called again? Atlantis. And just came up with a name.
in most religious texts, they talk about a great flood.
Yeah.
So that it just made sense to me. Oh.
Well, especially every country, every civilization around the Mediterranean has a great flood story. Greece has a great flood story. There's a great flood story in Britain, but it's not really on the Mediterranean. But there's actually evidence of a great flood.
Yeah.
But so like Greece, Mesopotamia, Moses, which is like Israel.
Yeah.
I think Egypt has a great flood story.
So
Some don't add up.
stuff like that makes sense to me, and I tell people, if you believe in God, bro, nothing should be nothing. If you believe in God,
Nothing's off the table.
yeah. And for me, it's like scientists will tell us 100% that Pangea was a continent, and like the world's actually split. So it's hard to believe that a fucking flood happened and took shit underwater. Like, just as we know the Earth now, we can't survive anywhere else. That's quote unquote where we're in the perfect spot. Mm-hmm. But like, if you believe in a God, can't you believe that He could move us to a different spot? Or over time, our conditions can change to the position, which causes all the major events happening on Earth. Meteors hitting the planet could probably knock us off by a little bit. Do this and that. Can't prove this stuff. This stuff happened billions of years ago. But that's where I just, when religion and science butt heads, I don't understand religious people who don't have an open mind because you believe in a higher deity that can do anything. Mm-hmm. So if you believe in that, anything, like, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And, well, scientists believe there was a big bang. Scientists, to me, is full of it. So you're telling me that Earth is literally the perfect planet. Somehow in the Big Bang, we just... Damn. Good hit.
It just worked out perfectly.
Yeah,
But I guess I don't necessarily, I agree with you, but I guess the rebuttal would be like, well, we're not actually the perfect planet. We just got lucky, and there's plenty of other planets out there who are just as perfect as us. It's just that we happen to be on this one. It's like, okay, well, I mean, sure, but don't you think it's a little suspicious? Like, I think it's just a little suspicious.
Yeah, like...
It's just, everything had to go right.
As much as they disprove everything, let's go to the sun. They'll burn up. Even though we've never been there, but I mean, we could use knowledge to know the closer to the sun you get is hot. Oh yeah, Pluto, that's uninhabitable too. It's too far away. Now, how do you know that? Like, yeah, how do you know for facts know that people will try to something, bro? It's obvious. They say this, they say that. We can't get there. It's literally.
I mean, but you could just run the calculations and see, like, yeah, it's a little cold. It's a little cold out there.
Or, like, well, we're the perfect spot. The planet before us. Come for it, man, bro. I don't remember what the fucking planets are in order.
Venus.
Mercury, Venus. I was about to say, the one before us, the one after us, there's flaws there, too. It's just like...
Well, actually, technically, Mars is still in the Goldilocks zone. It's just that Mars was too small. So, basically what happened, what they say happened, is that how we have a core, like a molten core, and that makes a magnetic field around us.
Yeah.
Mars' core solidified too soon, or solidified way before ours, because they're small. It's smaller than us, so its core stopped putting out a magnetic wave, and so it just got blasted by solar radiation. So it just got nuked to death, and that's why it's a wasteland.
And that's why it's just the way it is.
Which, makes sense.
You feel me? Science will dictate shit like that. But,
I mean, it's logical. It's just...
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's my deep theory on top of his. Just, life is... where we're going to get to a point where we off each other again, or something offs us. And people going to look at it. They had this thing called fucking internet. Or maybe the internet going to be so good when they get back to it. Them niggas was using Phones. I don't know why they would do that.
Why were they holding their hands to their faces? Like it would be like they'd find a picture of someone with like, why are they holding a brick to his head? They'll have no idea what a phone is because they don't use phones. So like, why were they? You know what I'm saying?
Well, why were they using fossil fuels for energy source?
Why would they burn stuff? You could just use fusion, and then they'd be like, "Oh yeah,
you can use the sun and store till the next day." Did they not have the great technology? No, like that's what
it would just be. Yeah, I completely agree.
I guess for mines or timekeeper telling me we're running short. We discussed it before, but the more that I live life, man, this damn simulation theory just hits me. Like the more that I live life, I'm believing. As time went on since we first did it, which I think was a year or two ago, our first conspiracies.
I think it was a year ago, almost exactly.
I don't really believe in too many coincidences anymore, and so I'm gonna use this one. When we all see movies of rags to riches, and some people call those people lucky. Like, oh yeah, he was lucky. Things happened his way and he went from rags to rich. But it seems like most rich people go from rag to rich. How is it considered lucky if we have movies and TV shows that depict it for us, and they still do it? But my main thing is, I guess there was nobody that started. This has just been an ongoing thing. It's just like, well, we're stuck in this revolving oh yeah, we see it, but it's impossible. But we see it, and it's impossible. That's not the basis of minds. That's just me edging in of it simulating just what we see and what's happening. And it's just damning to me that people are still in disbelief that it can. How many rags to riches stories are there in the world? Like millions? And I'm talking like from back to Stone Age, became a king, did this, became a king. Or even in the Bible, David to Goliath, to even now, TikTok. That nigga blow up and become a millionaire, but it's still abstract to...
I don't think it's that abstract, especially nowadays. I don't think it's as disbelievable as you think. But also, I think it's a matter of human psychology, not so much that it's a simulation. Because human psychology said it makes you feel like someone is something out of unattainable. But it's also like the system is baked that way to make it feel like it's unattainable.
Yeah, that damn system. I think that damn system is fixed. I'm telling you.
Well, of course it's fixed. It's the system.
Yeah, it's fixed because it's simulated. The system they operating on is iOS 450, and ain't no catching up with that. But
I just don't think so, dude.
Too many coincidences happen to me.
I'll give you that as a simulation, but I still think that's a good example.
It's not. It's just edging in. It's just too many. I can't think of the good ones because it'd be times at work and something just happens, and it just be like, damn, it's no way that happened. Or what? It can happen, but it's too many times when shit happens to me, and I'm talking like just life shit, and all the friends that I got ain't too many of them. So I don't want y'all thinking like this is 100. But my friends in Texas, got a friend in Seattle, friend in Virginia, all hit me up, bro. You don't believe this happened? That happened to me. Damn, that nigga ain't working. He ain't working hard. That nigga ain't giving us the free will product. That nigga just.
I don't know. Number one, do you think maybe all your friends think the same, so you put yourself in the same situation?
So you know a good amount of the college friends.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You know we don't. you don't.
But y'all do in certain ways.
I mean, it's true, but sometimes the situation is outlandish. Most of the time, the situation is just too out. Bro,
I'm just saying. I think it's a coincidence.
I believe all coincidences are simulated.
So okay, all right. So if we both flip a coin, right, and we both get heads, that's a simulation fucking up.
You consider that a coincidence?
I mean, we both got it at the same time.
I consider if me and you are both at home and our keys drop exactly at the same time, we have no way to prove it. But if it did, like Nope. That nigga bugged out. That nigga done bugged out on me. Yep.
I don't know. I just think it's just fate. Like it's just life. Life just is a thing.
I think because I know it, and it's probably overshadowed my mind. But bro, I could just be riding the train. It should have just happened. Yeah, that's just about right. Hey, yeah, that's just about right.
I think life is just predictable, so that now you think that you know what life is. like you say, life is just a cycle, right? So why wouldn't life just be a whole bunch of little cycles that you can predict?
You played The Sims before?
Yes, but like
Bro,
even when you play The Sims, you put it on computer mode. It's a whole bunch of cycles, and it all just happens over and over again. And life is like that anyway.
So are you in my boat? Are you proving me right, or are you trying to disprove me?
I'm just saying this is just a fact of this living. There's only so many outcomes that can happen anyway, right?
Man, this is free will. It should be that way. It should be a couple more outcomes.
See, but free will isn't really real. That's the thing. You can say that if you put a whole bunch of people in a room, anything could happen, but it's not really what goes on when you put a whole bunch of people in a room, though.
I don't believe that. I believe it's simulated. I don't believe ain't no free will.
But if everybody had, I'm saying, even if everybody had like a smidgen of free will, right? You only have half the free will, and the other part is simulated. Because if we didn't have free will, we wouldn't be able to talk about simulation, right?
I brought a simulation updated, goddamn it. Motherfucking updated. It was like,
if we're in the Matrix and we did not take the red pill, we wouldn't be able to fight against the Matrix, right?
So in that movie, so no BS. So are you telling me that everybody who knows the Matrix took the red pill?
Yeah. To get out the Matrix, you have to take the red pill.
Oh, I thought that they just gave him the red pill, just a plot hole.
No.
I'm like,
if they were in all leather, they took that red pill.
I was just making sure. I was like, did they not take it? Hey, something's going on around here, goddamn. I thought it was only 2 pills.
No.
But yeah.
So I'm saying if we didn't take the red pill, then we wouldn't be able to talk about the Matrix, right? So we wouldn't be able to talk about the simulation that we so-called live in.
Yeah.
Awfully suspicious.
You know my favorite saying, the best way to hide something is to put it in plain sight.
Which is true, but
if I was actually controlling people and tweaking them, yeah, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and have a little fun with this. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of something. I ain't gonna let y'all into the juicy bits.
I just think that life is just predictable. Life is a series of patterns, and all humans kind of think the same. You have the same psychology. You have the same this and that. So when a person does something, it's like, oh, well, yeah.
Them niggas biting out, man.
I just think people are fucking crazy. And people think this way. So therefore, other people think this way. That's why other people do shit at the same time.
My boss showed me a video of a nigga that just ran and jumped off the bridge in New York. Damn, bro, all I could think, that damn, the nigga short-circuited. Damn, did they get good buddy?
Maybe that nigga was just fucking crazy. Maybe somebody died close to him. Maybe he just lost his job.
Damn, bro, make the strings come untucked on him. But
everybody does it.
But
everybody has a point.
To be completely honest with you, so I watched iRobot, and it had me thinking so long and hard. It's funny how that, like, we worry about robots revolting up against us.
Oh, we're on the cusp.
Oh, for facts.
Oh.
But robots don't think any differently than humans. And I know that sounds funny that they have a preset mindset.
We programmed them.
But it's like so in iRobot, and bro, you know I'm authoritarian, true and true. The main robot ended up outthinking them and realizing, you know what? You're a danger to yourselves. So you know what? I'm about to put y'all on lockdown. Like, this was such a big shock to them, but is it really? We have politicians and there's actual people in power that think like that.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, it's kind of the logical progression. And a robot has no emotional aspect to it, right? So like, of course a robot's going to think only in the logical, and that's kind of the logical solution.
Yeah. And so it's just like when I noticed that, so most people made the robots out to be the monsters. I mean, I guess the niggas who are trying to, and one they weren't even trying to kill the people. The people were revolting, so they just had to kill them. But they made the robots to be the monsters, but our thinking is literally no different than robots. As much monsters and how weird we want robots to be, they think literally directly like we do. We can add a little bit. We can add the emotion aspect to it, but we're just bots at the end of the day. Like and I know I'm making it like simplified, but a robot's thought process is going to get us. Or we're going to get to point A to point B. Just I guess the bots is going to get there way faster than ours. But
yeah,
I
think what scares people about robots is that robots have no sense. Number one, have no sense of morality, right?
Yeah.
So like there's no necessarily good or bad. It's just what's the right solution, right?
Yeah.
Even because sometimes something can be the right solution, but it's the wrong thing to do.
Even to what you said, like robots just look at it as like the solution. They don't take anything else into effect. Like what you said, we're humans. How many different ways could things be done? Robots don't like, this is the right way. This is the way. And so even in the movie, that movie don't get enough respect as it does. It didn't have enough time. I could see the holes in it. It was based off a book, as you know, most movies based off of books can only do so much. But like, so even like the robot saved him instead of the girl, and did the percentage chance.
Who's gonna live the best?
Yeah, and so it's just like, I can see why you're mad, but I don't see why you're mad. Like I can see that. Maybe I guess he should have tried to make an effort, but he, as the robot, knew that if he did anything different, they'll probably both were gone. Yeah. So
I mean, and
this is that weird stuff of like, this now gets into the meat of my we program robots, and we believe robots is just machine and nothing. But like as humans, we do think. I guess in that moment, a human would have tried to, do the unimaginable. Maybe, he didn't even say it was 0. I think he said it was like a 10% chance that I could get her, but it's a 90% chance if I get you, and we did. And so, like, it's just weird. When I start thinking of humans as really no different than robots, and robots are simulated too, what just really makes the difference? And what you said, we made robots so they would think like us. Well, if somebody made us in their image, we would think like them.
So you think God is in there pulling the strings?
Yeah. I guess so. But to my simulation thing, if we're just all in the simulation, we all were given the base model of what moral and ethics is. Because even the rebels, they know what they know what our moral and ethics is. They're just rebelling against the set.
Okay. I mean, well, morals and ethics are kind of a social construct because, like, in other societies, certain things aren't frowned upon as much as certain things are frowned upon in others.
Yeah, in India, you could pretty much cut a woman in half and you don't go to jail for it.
So, certain things aren't. Morality is a sticky situation.
Yeah.
And this would be a good talk to have on another topic, but
true. That's why I was like, just the more that I think about it, and just the when just stuff just happens, and it's just
I literally just think life is just predictable. You can see stuff coming, and I think you also gotta think there's 7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen to people at the same time. It's just there's not enough time in the day. There's not 7 billion seconds. So if something happened and something happens different in each person each second, there's still too many people. So something has to happen to the same person. Like someone right now is saying the exact same words as me, and it just is what it is.
That's too freaky deaky for me. But that's crazy. But it'll be even crazy if your sister was saying the same exact words as you. That's the coincidence that I can't.
It wouldn't be that crazy to me because me and her think the same.
It's not crazy that y'all said the same thing. It's crazy at the same time y'all are saying the same. That's why I was like, that's too coincidental for me. When you brought up the point of us flipping coins, no, we're flipping coins. Like it's No, those are just very good odds. But what is the odds that your sister's talking to somebody about conspiracies and then said what you said?
I think the odds are pretty good though. just because we're both weirdos, I think it's pretty good.
Or
it's way higher than you think it is, I think.
Or the ad old expression, this will be my last one on it for now. It'll be hey, I've been thinking about you. Or I just thought about you and I called you. Yeah, I thought about you too. And I know the simple whole is you haven't seen somebody in so long. It's just what you thought. The idea just beamed both of us. It just beamed both. I don't think about people too often, but the time that I do, it is directly attributed to, yeah, we never thought, I haven't did whatever. But the time is never fixed. I can understand if, as humans, like, oh, it's been 2 weeks, it's been this or that. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months. It just happens. It just, and that's easily justifiable, but it makes it a lot more interesting to me if it's simulated.
I think you just want it to be a simulation. That's really what it is.
It's no different than when me and you get the same news, get the same Apple news out of random. It's no different. That bitch was simulated. It was sent. It was sent to us at the same time.
Because that's all an algorithm, and it's what you're into, and we're into the same shit. So of course we're gonna see the same shit.
No, not even that. Just like how I think Apple just sends out like random news on Sundays, but like I think it's sponsored news because everybody gets that bitch on Sundays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that. That's what I mean. Just like how Apple it's not coincidence that we both got it, but that's what my simulation theory is. Go ahead and put out. Mom thinks a D. D thinks a mom. 9-10.
Okay. Well, I disagree. I like the simulation theory. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I just don't think it's real.
When I get out of this motherfucker, it's go time. Hey, I don't know where I'd be at. I don't know. It's go time.
You come out of the pod like, so how was it? It was fucking awful.
I start bolting up, running. Fuck. This is what space is.
Yeah, it would be very funny, but.
I try my damnedest to try to find my people, but if I'm simulating shit, I wouldn't give y'all's real name. So A. Criego would not be you. Oh fuck it. I need an Antonio. Goddamn it! Come on. that motherfucker, a damn Spanish man. I don't give a damn. I needed somebody. But it was a good part 2.
And I still have more conspiracies, so I guess look forward to a part 3. We never do this. Like, comment, and subscribe. Help us out in the algorithm. Share our shit.
The more likes we get, the more videos we put out.
Eventually, we want to do this full time. So, all right.
We out.
We out.